If you haven't been here when she's been here before, she has been coming for the last 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. And when I found out about CareNet, I was looking for a local ministry that does what they do, that we could support. And someone mentioned it to me, and we got in touch with them, and Linda started coming, and she's been coming at least once a year ever since. She has a history with this building, if not our church, but this building, and it's just something we would never have anybody else. I mean, we would if you just weren't available anymore, but we like having Linda, and she's going to come and present what's going on at CareNet. I know there's been some changes in some of the facilities, and so she's going to come and remind us of some of these very important ministries that they're doing.
Oh, no problem. I do have a history in this church. My dad helped build this church, and so my parents met in the youth group here, and so I always have fond memories coming back here. I just have fond memories. I remember there's places we couldn't go in this building, up in the attic area. I'm still tempted to try to go up there, but it is good to be here. So I am here because of one reason. Your pastor had a vision, and he had told me you were involved in a walk in October each year, and he just felt like he wanted to do more. And because of his vision, I am here today. And the first time we came, we brought our medical unit with us, and Yvonne Thompson introduced me to you. And it just feels like home when I'm coming here. So I told them at CareNet, they put us in churches throughout January and February. And I said, well, I have to do my church because it's my church. And I said, and I have to do this church because it just reminds me of home. So I am so blessed to be here. I am blessed that you allow me to speak. You would be amazed how many churches do not want to have anything to do with the abortion issue. They say it is a political issue, and it's something the church shouldn't address. And it breaks our heart because it's not a political issue, it's a spiritual issue. And so we are so grateful for the opportunity to be in churches. And so we call it Souls Sunday, Sanctity of Human Life Sunday. We do it through January and February. And it was because Ronald Reagan, back in 1984, set it up as a time to bring awareness to this ongoing battle for abortion and life. And so we are part of CareNet National, which began right about the time that Roe v. Wade passed. And wise, godly men said, the church neglected this issue, and now they need to stand up to the plate. And so today I'm here, part of the ministry of CareNet of Puget Sound. And we are just one of more than 1,200 CareNet ministries throughout the United States. And so CareNet is one of the largest networks of pregnancy centers. So because we're often attacked nationally and such, but the reason why it is not just, we started out as a crisis pregnancy center, but it's more than that. We call it a pro-abundant life ministry, and it is crucial for our ministry. And I thought I'd read this text to you, and I probably did last year, but it needs to be brought up again. So Jesus in John chapter 9 had just healed the blind man. Of course, the pastor mentioned today about the Pharisees, and they were following behind him, and they were not happy. And he made this statement. He talked about being the shepherd, and we just sing a song about the Lord is my shepherd. And then he said these words, because he's talking about the Pharisees, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I come that they may have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. So when CareNet National started, they did not want to be known as just a crisis pregnancy center. They wanted to be known as a pro-abundant life, and they take that from this passage. And so CareNet's ministry is not just to save babies, although we're part of that process. It's to tell people about life and life abundantly. So it is a way in which she shared the gospel, because without the gospel of Jesus Christ, there is no hope with the abortion issue, because it's people's hearts that must be changed. We want good laws. We work toward that. But we know in reality, unless God changes the heart, there's really no true change. And so that is our focus at CareNet. And I had a young woman who's a nurse at our center, just started out, and she said in her testimony, I can't believe how gospel-driven this ministry is. And that warmed my heart, because that's what we want to be known as. We're an arm of the church, and the church's goal is that spiritual renewal, the spiritual, and we are part of the church. So that can't change. Our goal is to bring people to the gospel of Jesus Christ through the ministry of CareNet. And so we're responsible to these churches that support us and are there for us, that we don't forget that fact of who we are. And so, but I realized that I don't ever remember telling you guys about how CareNet of Puget Sound got started. So John, go ahead and show our mission statement. So this is our mission statement. It's never changed. CareNet National has never changed. It stayed this way. And so if you start a ministry and the mission never changes, that's a good thing. And we've stuck true to this, acknowledging that every human life begins at conception and is worthy of protection. CareNet offers hope by providing compassionate, practical care, accurate information, biblical truths, and life-affirming resources for pregnancy, sexual health, integrity, and abortion recovery. That's our mission. And so the next slide is, I had never told you how we got started. And so I was doing a little digging, because I know bits and pieces. I've been with CareNet for 10 years. But in the early 80s, King County had this vision, this awareness of what was going on. And so they started what was called Life Choices. And while King County was addressing the abortion issue, there were people in Pierce County, godly men and women, that said, we got to do something. And the church can't handle everything. So as I said, we're part of the arm of the church. And so they asked this question, the simple question, what can we do? So 40 years ago, this small group of ordinary Christians had this vision, just like your pastor had a vision that wanted to do more and just talk about the issue. They began praying for women in the community facing unexpected pregnancies. And so out of those prayers, CareNet of Puget Sound was born. And I read this little testimony of way back when, of a lady describing that first center. And it was in a rough area of Tacoma. And this is what she remembers from those times. Honestly, this place was lacking in the amenities many offices enjoy. The heat during the winter was either too hot or not sufficient, and air conditioning in the summer, we had 2 window units downstairs, but could only run one at a time, and we would before we tripped the electrical panel. There was no AC upstairs. We had a system opening certain doors and windows and having fans placed to keep things cool in the morning and the heat of the afternoon. The plumbing worked, except when it didn't. The client's restroom was particularly vulnerable to issues. Grateful that the Lord provided a plumber who was also a night guard for us on Thursday nights. When they were open on Thursday nights in the evening in not a great area of town, we had to have a night guard. But for all it lacked, it was home and what God had given us. And great things began to happen in this building. Lots of lives touched, helped, and saved. As a staff member, I remember rooftop parties to celebrate staff birthday, just to get out and take a break from the heat. I can say that I still remember such marvelous ways in which God worked. We could write a book, and probably should. It was an amazing story. So every ministry, You have to start. And since that time, we now have 6 centers, 2 mobile units. It is amazing how God has blessed in over these 40 years. And it's because of churches and businesses and individuals who came alongside. We are totally supported by donations, totally. And we depend on that. Now, we're one of the largest pregnancy resource ministries in the nation, carrying into Puget Sound. And I know that's for a fact because one night I was on the helpline and a lady called. And she was from Junction City, Kansas. And they were right by a ministry they're right by the military base. And she was asking about something we can do to help this woman who just lost a pregnancy and she's devastated. And I know you guys have something because I was just at Nationals and everybody at Nationals knows Puget Sound Pregnancy Center, carrying it. And I was able to talk to her. She was a nurse, a pediatric nurse in the hospital. She quit her high-paying job to take the directorship of this little tiny pregnancy center. And because she felt a need because of the military there, abortion rates are high, and she felt that's where God called her. She said that we're called JC Pregnancy Center because of Junction City, but we all know it's Jesus Christ Pregnancy Center. And I thought that was sweet. And we had this wonderful fellowship and talking about our ministries and the things that we have to endure. And so it was just really exciting to be able to talk with her about our love for life. So I want to give you some ministry highlights. And these are just from January to October we have. And then those highlights, we have, I think, John, it says we have 12,800 that were served in our centers this past year. So that's up. The next slide, we had 1,610 life-changing ultrasounds were performed. That's 36% higher. And even more, we prayed with clients over 4,000 times. The gospel was shared 326 times. And there are 25 professions of faith. Our Healing Tide ministry, and I can't underestimate this ministry. It grew 44%. And our Healing Tide, it started for women who had abortions. But we realized there were women who were impacted by miscarriages and infant loss and stillborn. It's a loss of a life. And so our ministry grew, and it's just overpowering. We couldn't even imagine the hurt out there. And when people hurt, they need an answer. And we know the answer is Jesus Christ. They might not be coming in saying, I need Jesus Christ. But when people are hurting, what better hope that we can give them than the message of Jesus Christ? And then we have a new King County mobile unit that's now serving in Auburn. So this is our new one I showed you last year, and now it goes to King County up in the Renton area, and it goes up into the Bothell area. It goes for places that are really in need, but we just don't have the resources to put up a brick and mortar building. So King County is so in need, so it travels everywhere. And so we just opened up in Auburn in a really rough area, and it's already busy. And so we're grateful for that. And then in June, we were able to replace the 18-year-old mobile unit that we have up in Bellevue. Bellevue's expensive to build or whatever, but the need is great. And so we were able to purchase this. It is debt-free. It sits on Jubilee Reach, a ministry up there, so we have no cost to put it there. This ministry allows us to be there. And so the other one that was falling apart, and we prayed, and God provided, and people gave. And so that just opened up in June. That's a praise. But I come because I like to share with you what our center's doing. That's a part of, and Sonia, we love when she comes up there because she has all this energy and excitement, and she comes up with the baby bottles, and she's going to be hitting you up with the baby bottles. We know her well. And so I want to share with you a little bit about the ministry there so you have this one-on-one with one center. And so if you come, Puyallup CareNet is right on South Hill. We are blessed with this building that we purchased during COVID when nobody could meet, and people provided over $1 million that we could be debt-free in this building, have it totally remodeled for our needs. And so, and with that building came this sign right on Meridian. It's a huge sign. Towers over all the other signs because the lady who had it had this spa there, this building. So she wanted everybody to know about her spa. So she made sure she had this big sign. When she sold us the building, that became our sign. And so you cannot miss it going back and forth on Meridian. And so many clients have come in for seeing that sign. So this is what our center looks like. It's very warm and welcoming. So if you come to the center either on Wednesday or Thursday, this is my view. I started out as a receptionist. Now I do a bazillion other things there. You know how ministry is. You may be at this role, but if it's time to clean the toilets, it's time to clean the toilets, and somebody's got to do it. So we all have various roles there. And so I will have people walk into the center. They're either coming in for a medical, parenting, or material assistance. And so my job when people come in is to greet them, hopefully make them feel at home, and kind of assess the issue. You know, are they anxious? Are they happy? Are there some contention there? We have to be careful. There's sex trafficking high in Pierce County. Is it an issue where a girl's in there with a situation like that? There's things I need to watch so I can inform the woman who's going to be working with her what things look like as best as I can. More than anything, we want them to know this is a place of safety. So it's very warm when you come in and inviting. And because they're coming in needing hope. And our role is to let them know there is hope, however that may look. But we think of just the pregnancy tests and ultrasounds and all we do. But there is so much more that CareNet offers. We offer childbirth and prenatal classes, parenting classes, pregnancy loss. Abortion pill reversal has become very controversial, even in Washington, D.C. And this is a process when a woman takes the abortion pill and she changes her mind, because it's a two-part system. There is a way in which we have, I think, I don't want to get this wrong, maybe a 60%, 65% chance that that can be reversed by replacing what the abortion pill, the first one, took away from the mother's body. It's very successful, and it is being attacked mercifully in Washington, D.C. by certain people who don't like that to take place. And so we begin more and more involved in that. We're back in the schools, which is a good thing. When COVID hit, we were locked out. Our state is so pro-abortion. We had to think of creative ways to get back into the school with our message. And so we're able to do that. We're seeing some great strides take place in our Smart Love program that we have going into the schools. The issues with the sexual issues going on in the schools and views make it difficult. So those women who go into the schools and teach in these health classes, they bless my heart because they are in a battle, and yet they're willing to do it. We've had some leadership changes, and one of the leadership changes, this is, I think that's the next slide, and it is, there's my office director, our director, Kim Sandberg, and she is amazing. I can't even get her to take time to let me take a picture. She's just always at work. And she's excited for churches like yours. But I want to introduce you to Artie. This is Artie next door. She just came from the Philippines a year ago. She's our spiritual rock at that center. She has such a love for the Lord. She said 20 years to get into the United States. 20 years, and I'm thinking, oh my, because she just wanted to come. Her family was here. And so she patiently waited. She knew, and during that time of waiting, she came to know the Lord. And so, and she began to grow. Now, her family here does not know the Lord, and she's staying with them. But she has a heart for the unborn. So just about 4 months ago, she's been hired on. And I told her about Sonia, being from the Philippines, and all about her. And she says, oh, I want to meet her. I need some good Christian fellowship. But her job is to keep us all going with all the records and bookkeeping and just all that she does. Pray for Artie. We so love her and what she's doing. Then our medical team. Now, we are a medical clinic, and we meet all of the state of Washington's regulations to be an official medical clinic. We meet everything. In fact, we do it with precision, because we know in our state they would love to close us down for any violations, anything. So we have godly leaders who know the importance of a testimony and doing things right. And so, and we know they don't want us there, because we had a young girl at our center who worked at our center, volunteered, and she became pregnant. So we did an ultrasound for her, and she was going to her doctor, and she took the the pictures of her pregnancy to the doctor. And the nurse informed her, well, this is not really a legit clinic. And she did not know that, Elizabeth worked at our center. So she didn't say anything, but she says, boy, my heart was boiling, because I knew we were. So she came back and she asked our director what to do. And so our head of nursing went to this clinic and in graciousness and love explained. But that's what we fight, because the medical world in our state, a lot of them don't consider us legit. So it's important that we do things above and beyond. This is our new nurse, Elizabeth, another Elizabeth, and she just started doing ultrasounds at our center. Now, we train every person that's doing ultrasounds. We train them. It's extremely expensive, because we have to go through the state and training how to do ultrasounds and do it correctly. And Elizabeth was a nurse, and she loved being a nurse, but her heart was for the unborn, the abortion issue. And so she now is our full-time nurse. This is extremely important, because years ago, we had to share nurses, and we couldn't have a nurse every day of the week. And the goal has been the last few years that every center is fully staffed with a nurse all day long. That's extremely important, because when a girl calls and she wants to know if she's pregnant, she's abortion vulnerable, we try to get them to have an ultrasound opportunity to share with them. And when we didn't have a nurse, we lost those opportunities. So we are pretty much fully staffed with a full-time nurse in each center. And then we have volunteer nurses that fill in the gap and help them out. So we're very grateful God's provided her full-time in our center for the first time this year. Now, the next picture you see right next to her is a ministry called Infinite Worth. They're I'm thinking they're out of Georgia. But their whole goal is coming alongside pregnancy centers with a 24-hour chat box that when someone goes to our website, wants to make an appointment or has inquiry, there's this little box in the corner. And it says, I'm a nurse. Do you have any questions? And they are trained to speak with women, especially women that are abortion-minded. And they have that wisdom because that's their job, their role. And it is an amazing ministry. Now, if you look at our stats, we always said when a woman sees an ultrasound, 90-something% of the time they will choose life. It's dropped, and people will wonder why it's dropped. It's because for the first time we are targeting abortion-minded women. We're drawing them to our website. We want them to come in. So we're hitting hard targets. But we want to be the ones that are talking to them, not Planned Parenthood, not other places like that. So they are bringing those women to us. And we're able to share truth. Now, our goal is to not change women's lives. Only God can do that. Our goal is to present truth, present what an abortion is, to be honest with them, to give them all the information they need, and then praying that God would change their hearts. And this Infinite Worth is helping bring those people in, and we're very grateful to be hooked up. But it costs for them to be a part of our ministry, but our board feels it's very important that we connect with them to help us out. And so we're very blessed with that. Another thing about our medical, and my nurse that spoke at my church when I was talking about CareNet, she was saying that she could not believe what the pregnancy advocates did before they even got into the ultrasound room. So when they come in, they just don't go right to the ultrasound machine. They come in, they see a pregnancy advocate, and they set them down and they ask them all kinds of questions. They want to get a feel for this woman, what her choice is. Not everybody that comes to our center is abortion-minded. We're open up to anyone, but just to how they're feeling. Are they in a trauma situation? What's going on? This is an opportunity for them to share the gospel if they can. And then they do all of that hour meeting with them. And then they give the notes to that ultrasound nurse. So when this girl comes in to have an ultrasound, she already knows where this girl's position is. So as she's doing that ultrasound on the woman, she knows how she can talk with her in a loving, compassionate way. They don't need condemnation because a lot of them want abortion because of condemnation. They need to know there's somebody there that cares about them. So she's very grateful for these pregnancy advocates that come in. The other way in which we share the gospel is our parenting classes. And parenting classes are open to anyone who has a child 4 years and under. And so we know the importance of proper parenting. It's one thing, so they choose life and they choose to keep the baby. But it doesn't, when the baby's born, now I'm a great parent. There are biblical concepts that we love to share. What's so sweet about this? So they come in, they're taking parenting classes. They don't realize that all of the concepts we teach them are biblical. So if we have a Muslim come in for parenting classes, or a Buddhist, or whatever religion, because we have all kinds coming in, we are sharing with them biblical truths. And they come in and they have classes for 7 weeks. And in that 7 weeks, we are constantly sharing biblical truth with them and all kinds of things. And we wait and look for opportunities to share the gospel if they don't know the Lord. And so I wanted to share with you, let me see, who do I have up there? Oh, so Dave on the side there, he's been with CareNet for about 10 years. He's a grandpa. He loves the Lord. He just clicks with the men that come in a way, and he's kind of soft-spoken, and half the time you're hearing them back there, they're talking about tools or something. He's trying to develop a relationship with them. And so he is there when we have men, usually on Thursday nights. But Meryl next to him, I want to share a story about her. So she has a heart. She just has this gift of sharing the gospel. And she has led, I think, about 4 people to the Lord since she's been there for 2 years. And I want to share with you this one story. So Meryl has 4 boys, and so she understands the difficulty of raising children if you're alone. And so she has this heart for women that come in by themselves. There's not going to be a husband or anybody to support her when she gets out. And about a couple months ago, a young girl, I think she was 15, she's pregnant. She decided she's going to keep her baby. And when Meryl first met her, she realized this girl has no support. She says, I don't even know if she knows what love is. She just came from an adverse home life. And she said, my heart grieved. She was timid. She said she just looked hopeless. And my heart grieved because she could have been my granddaughter. And so she developed this relationship with this girl. And she wanted to get her into a safe living place. And there's this ministry called New Beginnings in Puyallup that is a place like that. So she's just trying to walk with her through the situation. And through Meryl's love for her, and Meryl began to pray and had her church pray for her daily. She's begun to pray for her. The last day of her class, the 7th week, in devotion, she said, please pray for me. She's warm to the gospel. I've just seen just opportunities open, just that God would give me wisdom to share with her the right words to present the gospel to her in a way that's clear. I just want her to know how much we love her. And so so she was back there, and I was busy doing stuff. I didn't pay attention. She comes out with this girl. And so when the girl first started coming, and she'd sit out in the lobby, I tried to talk with her, and she was just like afraid, or I don't know, just wanted to put arms around her. You felt for her. And each week she kind of warmed up, and she'd actually answer my questions instead of nodding, And so she came out. They came into the office, and usually we don't bring a client into the office area. She brought her into the office area, and she goes, this girl, I don't want to share her name, has something to share with you. And she talked about how she received Christ. And you could tell this girl was sincere. She's sharing with what she went through and experienced and stuff. And you just saw a different countenance. It's like, God says when he changes our heart, he changes our heart. And you could just see it. And this girl, who I could never hardly get to talk to me, hugged me. And I thought, and Meryl was just like overjoyed. And so, and then she's afraid because her classes were done. That's it. And Meryl go, oh no, you can keep taking classes if there's nobody on the waiting list. What she didn't know, when a young person at that age takes parenting classes, we put everybody to the side and we continue that because they need it. And so we're continuing to disciple her as she's taking parenting classes. And it's just a joy to see that God does change lives, and you could see it. And so pray for Meryl's little girl, that she would grow. We try to get him to a church that's in their area, and make sure they're staying connected, because CareNet is not their church. And some will say, this is my church. No, this is not your church. Said, this is where you hear about the gospel. Now you need to grow in a church. And so we connect them with that. So I told Mary I was going to share that story. So, share that story. It just encouraged me that day. So another thing we do is our boutique. Now, and this is where you guys have donated and given things, and we so appreciate it. So we have different groups that will use this boutique. So we're connected with hospitals in the area, and if they have a young woman who has a baby and she has nothing, and they could tell maybe she's on the street or whatever, we have this emergency bag we put together, and it's a backpack diaper bag, because we don't know the situation of the mom, stuffed with everything they'll need for that baby at the beginning. They know that, and we'll get a call from the hospital, and they'll say, we have this person at our hospital. Can they come? And they say, yes, have them call us, and then we hook up with them, and then they come into our center, and we share who we are, and then we provide. And when you donate to CareNet, that gift is coming from you guys, okay? So it is what is provided for that person because they need it. Another person that will come, we have a medical, we call it a emergency visit. And we offer a one-time visit. Usually we'll get them through 211 or calls like that. And somebody needs help, we'll offer a one-time, and pretty much the same thing we do with a baby, except maybe it's older kids. And then we say, this is what we do here. They're parenting classes, ways in which you can take classes and through those classes earn what we call CareNet cash to purchase things in the boutique. Because in the parenting classes, we're not teaching we give things away. We want to teach them responsibility. So as they take classes, they earn what we call CareNet cash, and then we take them into the center. If you want to buy a new item, it's $2 CareNet cash. If you want to buy a gently used item, it's $4 for $1. We're trying to teach them how to budget, trying to teach them how through our store, that, and we let them know when they come in. See this? This is from people who donated from their heart. And so they know when they walk in, there's a community out there who cared enough that stocks that little room there with the things they need to provide for their child. So, and also, see that hallway there? Those were Christmas gifts donated from churches, just gifts wrapped up. They tell us what's inside and on the outside, but they don't tell you exactly what it is. And we have that just all through our center at Christmas time. And so we say, come in, and we say, and pick out a gift for your baby that's coming or your children that are here. This is just to let them know another way there are people out there that care. And so I don't think I've ever showed you a picture, but it's just so fun to walk in our center at Christmas time, start right after Thanksgiving, and it just feels like just so warming to people that come in. So we have some events coming up. I'm going to go through really quick. We have the Light and Life banquet that's coming up. And so we're excited about that. It's a fundraiser. It doesn't cost to go there, but it's a fundraiser. And it shares in the community what's going on. If that's something you might be interested in. I know the next slide you're interested in the baby bottles, because Sonia's going to make sure you're interested in the baby bottles. So I have them out there. And this is a great way to teach kids or grandkids, because it's a baby bottle and you just put your coins in. And I have a lot of kids at our church that parents use it as a way they earn stuff at home, and then they put the money in the baby bottle. It raises like $150,000 every year, those baby bottles. We collect it 3 times a year. You guys do it in the at the beginning of the year. At my church, I do it from Mother's Day to Father's Day, because that's the only time I can remember, because I'm the representative of my church. But $150,000. That's amazing. Last year, we did first time the Walk for Life at Chambers Bay. It's just to get out in the community. And 600 people showed up for this. and raising money for CareNet and walking and cars driving by like, what is going on at that golf course, Chambers Bay. And so I just raised a lot of money, but awareness in the community. And then we had the Swing for Life is a golf tournament. And so I volunteer every year, and my role is to be at the whole place. If you get a hole in one, you win a trip to whatever that golf big thing, the Masters. And so I film it every year. I've been doing it for 8 years. Have I ever seen a hole in one? No, except for this year. And so I'm filming it, and I'm supposed to film it, going in the whole scenario, and just stand there. And I have never seen guys act like women in all my life, but they were screaming and hollering and whooping up, and because there was a hole in one. And what was really neat is that nobody said, "Oh, there goes my chance for hole in one." They were so excited for him. What was even better is, so businesses will sponsor, and they'll have workers that aren't Christian. They're coming because it's free golf. And it's at a country club where they could never golf before. And we're sharing the gospel with these workers that have come with their boss to come and play golf, and our ministry at CareNet. And so it's just, if you golf or whatever, it's just a great way. And this golf, Chambers Bay, this golf course, Kent Cameron Golf, whatever, it's a country club. They love us coming. They say, we love when you guys come. First of all, we don't have anybody losing their temper or anything. You guys are having fun. You keep things clean. We don't have any issues. And we rent the entire golf place. And so we have a good testimony with this place and a great way in which to raise money. And I think it's around $75,000 they raised for CareNet, and just the way. Now, in Sunday school, if you're there, Pastor talked about prayer and the importance of prayer. And I want to give 2 prayer requests. First of all, we started a men's program at CareNet a few years back. And then CareNet National started a pilot program called Dr. Dad. I have flyers out there. And it is a course they take for practical courses for expectant fathers. And one of the places they chose to start this pilot program was CareNet of Puget Sound. I think they have 4 pilot programs throughout the United States. And the reason why they feel our area is in desperate need of care for the fathers. We have all the red flags. And so they've come alongside us and started this Dr. Dad. And if you know anybody who is new or expectant parent, it's free. It's just amazing. And then they have a healthy dad that continues after that, just how to be a healthy dad. And Daniel, the director, said, please have that church pray for this, that we can reach out, because we just have a desperate need in the Puget Sound area for healthy dads. Because we know the key to healthy marriages is key to the dads. And so that's one. The other is favor in our community. Now, this past year, we were broken into. Nothing was taken and nothing was done. But we know we live in a area that we're not highly favored. And so because they don't perceive us who we really are, there's animosity. And so just pray for our center, pray for all the centers. We'll have vandalism take place, and yet God's so faithful and bringing people to fix it right away, and we were able to get going on the center right away and keep our appointments going. And then just get involved. And to me, the best way you can get involved, and we talked about in Sunday school, prayer. And we have a way in which you can pray for us. We have this mobile app that hooks right up to your phone. Just call the administration and say, I want to be part of your prayer chain. And every time a woman comes through our center and leaves and we feel she's going to have an abortion, no matter what truth was given to her, we send out a prayer thing, just says, pray for this one. Sting on your phone. And we have hundreds of people that stop and pray. It'll also let you know if someone chose life for the baby, to encourage you. And it says, this one chose life. Came in wanting abortion, leaving saying, I want to keep this baby. And then the last one said, this one chose eternal life. So anyway, it's important that we have your prayer because every year in Washington State, 20,000 souls are lost in the abortion. Majority now are through the abortion pill. So just think about that. Every day, how many lives are lost in our state? And so I want to thank you for being a part of that. I wish you could be at the centers and see what we see. You support us and we receive the blessings there. But it is such a joy if you ever want to come in and have a tour of our center. We would love to show you what we do and what your offerings are doing to make it who we are, and we are very blessed. Be sure to stop by the table, and if you see any information that you want, take it with you. And thank you, and God bless.
As always, thank you, Linda, for coming. We appreciate you being with us today. All right, we're going to receive a love offering. As you know, we don't pass the plate very often. We don't pass it for ourselves. We always pass it if we have guests or ministry that's here that we want to support. And so I'll go ahead and ask the ushers to come forward on each side. And so if you're going to write a check, if you'll make it out to Riverside, cash, of course, just put the cash in, and then we will we'll total the checks and cash, and then we'll just write one check for Linda to take with her today. Also, do we still have? Did I see that we had Danella? I need to ask you. We still have those the knit caps in. You already got them. Okay, good. Okay, I was going to ask about that. I was going to make sure because the lady that makes those, she's not here today. I hate that Mary couldn't be here, but she definitely wanted to give those to. She gave those to us so we could donate to somebody, and we certainly thought of you guys. So, all right. So let's pray, and we'll ask God's blessing on this offering, and Chris and Bill will receive it for us today. All right, let's pray. Lord, again, we're so grateful for the fact that we have such a wonderful ministry that's in this very, just such a needy area and such an important task to share truth with people who are at risk, to help them choose life for the baby, yes, but also to help them understand that there's a loving Christian community in the area, and most of all, that there's an answer for their life in Jesus Christ. And so we're thankful for their ministry. We're thankful for all the volunteers, for everyone who is working so diligently to help all these goals be accomplished. And we know you are in favor of the ministry. Pray you continue to bless it. We do pray for the different requests that were made, the different events that are happening, the men's program. Help us to be even more diligent to pray for CareNet on an ongoing basis. And we pray that you would just take this offering now, bless it, use it, multiply it, and meet CareNet's needs through the year with our offering and the others that they receive from other churches and individuals. And we thank you for this time. In Jesus' name, amen. It was funny, while they're taking that up, I'll just mention, we got a card on the board. I posted a new thank you card. It came today. It came this week, I'm sure, but I just got it today. And so I thought, well, that's appropriate. So they send those cards. And I usually post them on the board for a time. And it's just, we appreciate the way you guys stay connected with us in that way. And so, all right. I think the offering is finished. So if you'll stand.